Revealed, 7 miraculous signs you are a divine healer with prophetic gifts and sacred power. The air crackled with divine anticipation as Sarah entered the old church, where the faint glow of stained glass bathed the dimly lit room in heavenly hues. Every Sunday, her heart ached for a miracle. She was a devoted mother, and her son, Jacob, was fighting an insidious illness deemed terminal. But deep within her spirit, she felt the stirrings of something extraordinary. Would God unveil something astounding today? As she joined the congregation, she breathed in the scent of incense, mingling with whispered prayers, wrapping her heart like a warm embrace. The elderly pastor, with his flowing robes and eyes filled with wisdom, climbed into the pulpit. "Friends," he exclaimed, his voice resonating with gravity, "the Lord has spoken. Today, I prophesy that a mother's unwavering faith will bring healing, miraculous and holy." A shiver danced down Sarah's spine. Hope flickered within her tired heart, a flame against the coldness of reality. Could Jacob be healed? Could she be a vessel? The wave of skepticism from friends and family rushed in like a tide, and doubt began to thrum in her mind, threatening to drown her spirit. That night, as Sarah knelt by Jacob's bed, she felt her bones ache with weariness. Tears brimmed in her eyes as she whispered fervent prayers, each word a thread stitched into the tapestry of hope. As her eyes fluttered shut, a radiant figure emerged in her dream, resplendent and luminous, a divine messenger. "You are a healer," the figure proclaimed, pointing toward the sky. "7 miraculous signs are yours." As the figure revealed each sign, a light enveloped her heart. The first sign was unshakable belief. Wherever she walked, darkness would tremble at her faith. Then came words of wisdom and prayers of power that brought peace and healing. Each sign filled her with warmth and assurance. She woke up breathless, her resolve ignited, her spirit aflame. She began praying with newfound fervor, and as whispers of her daughter's conviction mingled with tales of healing rippled through her tight-knit community, attendees rushed to witness Sarah's newly manifested strength. "I believe," she cried out. And the church rallied behind her, their collective faith igniting pockets of hope, but doubts lingered. Sarah wrestled every night as she prepared for Jacob's upcoming surgery. What if her dreams of being a healer were merely fabrications of her desperate heart? Could she truly wield the power bestowed upon her? But just as despair tightened its grip, heaven answered. A hush fell upon the gathering as they felt a palpable presence. The weight of miracles hovered. "Friends," the pastor said, "take a moment. God's hand is among us." In that stillness, something shifted, a flicker of certainty coursed through Sarah. Murmurs of belief surged around her. The community was coming alive. "Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the days drew closer to Jacob's surgery, tension thickened the atmosphere. Sarah felt both the sting of fear and the balm of faith entwine. Could she unlock the miraculous signs destined for her? As the hospital awaited them like a darkened ship on a stormy sea, either she would step into the light or be swept into doubts of murky depths. And then, a sign, something transformative and holy began to unfold, one that would test the very core of Sarah's belief, potentially rewriting the narrative of faith not just for Jacob but for their entire community. The question burgeoned within her: would she dare to trust in the miraculous? The morning light pierced through the clouds, painting the hospital walls in unexpected warmth. Sarah stood before Jacob's bed, her heart a symphony of hope and dread. The machines beeped rhythmically, yet they seemed to sync with her racing pulse, merging life with anxiety. Every moment felt heavy, saturated with the weight of her prayerful intent. As she watched her son breathe, she felt the stirring of faith within her, a whisper of divine encouragement. "Believe in the signs," she recalled from her dream. It echoed in her mind as if the radiant figure had come alive before her. "You are a healer." Deep breath. She gathered courage from the depths of her being and touched Jacob's hand, a fragile bridge between her world and the divine. God, let your healing flow, she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. The warmth of Jacob's skin under her palm ignited a flicker of determination. In that moment, she realized she was not just a mother desperate for a miracle, she was a conduit for the divine. Sarah imagined the healing energy enveloping Jacob, wrapping him like a loving embrace. A nurse entered, the soft click of her shoes almost dulled by the vibrant atmosphere of faith in the room. She moved delicately, checking the monitors, her presence somehow calming. "He is stable," the nurse announced, glancing at Sarah with understanding eyes. "We're doing everything we can." Sarah nodded, but within her heart, a truth blossomed. Everything they were doing was necessary, yet there was more, an unseen force that worked alongside their efforts. "Lord, I believe. Can you wield my faith?" She prayed silently, determination spilling from her heart like honey on warm bread. As hours turned into days, visitors flocked to the hospital room, each carrying a piece of hope. Friends, neighbors, even strangers gripped by the miraculous stories that had spread through the town. They gathered around Jacob's bed, forming a circle, hands uplifted in prayer. The atmosphere buzzed with expectancy. Sarah took a step back and gazed at the faces around her. There were tears, smiles, and rays of belief shining brightly from everyone. "We are vessels," she thought. The thought ignited something deep within her spirit. She was not alone in this fight. Together, they formed a tapestry of hope, each person a thread woven into the fabric of divine intention. And now, the pastor's voice boomed softly through the air, reaching her ears. "We lift our hearts and voices with one accord. Healing is present." And there, in that profound moment of unity, the air shifted. It felt electric, thick with the presence of the divine. As the pastor led the prayers, Sarah felt a warm sensation flood her being, an all-encompassing love, stronger than fear. Surely, God was revealing something new. An unexpected sensation enveloped her, igniting new layers of belief. She could sense the energy flowing through the room and into her son. Suddenly, Jacob stirred. His eyes fluttered open, gazing at the faces before him, confusion mingling with recognition. Sarah's heart leaped as she clutched his hand tighter, wrapping him in the warmth of love and faith. But just when joy seemed palpable, a flutter of doubt whispered through the inner calm. Was this merely the side effects of medication, or was it the start of something incredibly miraculous? Was she witnessing a sign or simply the workings of medicine? Questions swirled in her mind, layering over the divine presence they had invoked. Would faith prevail where medicine tended to falter? As the pastor's voice faded into prayers of gratitude, Sarah wrestled with the immense spiritual implications. She could not afford to let her heart question the miraculous when it clung so fiercely to a glimmer of hope. The moment felt heavy with decision, and with her heart racing, one question took root: what would the next step reveal? And beneath the weight of her emotions, the answer hung in the air, poised on the brink of unfolding. Would she cling to faith in the potential of a miracle, or would she grapple with her doubts as they intertwined? The divine mystery lay ahead, waiting to be unearthed. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as Jacob's gaze found hers. His eyes, usually so vibrant, were clouded with confusion. Yet, she felt a shift, a light illuminating their connection that seemed to transcend the room. "Mom." His voice, fragile yet filled with recognition, dripped into her spirit like honey. "Yes, Jacob. I'm right here. You've come back to us," she whispered, tears trickling down her cheeks like little streams of hope. Everything else faded: the machines, the sterile smell of the hospital, even the hushed prayers around her. In that moment, all that mattered was the love flowing between them. She locked her eyes on Jacob's, willing him to return fully. "You can do this. We're all praying for you. God is with us." Each word reverberated in her heart, building a bridge of faith stronger than the doubts lurking in the corners of her mind. Sarah dared to believe that their collective prayers were stirring something new, something that could not be contained by mere medical explanations. Just then, Jacob's face flickered with realization. Did I did I die, Mom?" The question hung in the air, heavy with the weight of unspoken fears. Sarah inhaled sharply, feeling the delicate balance between hope and uncertainty. "No, sweetie. You've been fighting. You're still here, and we're all fighting with you." She fought back the tears, pushing them away to keep her voice steady. A wave of church bells rang in her spirit, proclaiming life and light over their circumstances. The pastor, sensing the shift in the room, moved closer. His voice became a gentle current against the rising tide of emotions. "Let us continue to uplift Jacob in prayer. God's grace is moving among us today." His words, meant to bind the collective spirit, opened the air. It felt as if the walls of the hospital had thinned, letting in a weightless atmosphere charged with divine potential. As the prayers enveloped them, Sarah felt something deeper stir within. It was more than hope, it was a calling, an invitation to become an active participant in God's plans. "Lord, use me," she pleaded silently, feeling the warmth of divine assurance wrap around her heart. In that sacred space, she sensed encouragement flowing through her. She was purposeful, more than just an observer in this miracle. "I am a healer," she whispered to herself, testing the phrase on her spirit. It felt right, confirmed by the radiating energy around them. The little room was now a sanctuary, filled with a chorus of belief. Eyes shone with expectation, and hands remained clasped in unity. Each prayer was like a spark, igniting the darkness, illuminating possibilities. Sarah felt an imperceptible shift, as if the collective faith was becoming tangible, ready to be drawn down into reality from the heavens above, but as Jacob's hand squeezed hers, a flicker of doubt crept back in. How could she truly claim such power? Her heart fluttered, caught between elation and anxiety. How could this all be real? Was she really to accept that they were on the precipice of a miracle? Deep within, a vibrant pulse of urgency beckoned her. Something undeniable was unfolding, yet it demanded her full surrender. Would she step into the role she felt nudged toward? The thought shivered through her. Had she truly unlocked the doors to heal not only her son but also connections far beyond this moment? "Mom, I feel different," Jacob murmured, as if he were grasping at the roots of his new reality. Sarah leaned closer, energy humming between them. The next moments felt like a promise waiting to bloom, but shadows lurked. What would it mean to fully embrace the mantle of healer? The air thickened as they waited, hearts thrumming in anticipation. Little did they know, the next revelation was creeping closer, ready to shift their understanding forever. What awaited them just beyond the edges of this faith-filled moment? As the silence stretched, a serene presence settled over the hospital room. Sarah could feel it swirling about them, a gentle breeze of peace that cocooned her and Jacob. It cradled them, inviting them deeper into their faith. Could it really be that this was the moment they were meant to uncover the mysteries God had woven into their lives? Jacob's eyes widened, pupils dilating as if he were seeing a world beyond the walls of the room. "Mom, I can hear them," the words, he breathed, his voice a mix of wonder and disbelief. His cheeks glowed with an inner radiance, as if the very light of heaven had touched him. "Words?" Sarah echoed, her heart racing. "Yes. Songs of healing, Mom, prayers binding us. They're everywhere." He seemed almost ethereal, absorbed in this higher frequency of faith. The atmosphere shimmered as if responding to Jacob's new awareness. The pastor took a step back, feeling their collective energy shift. He stood in awe before the unfolding miracle, hands raised in surrender. "Can you hear that?" he murmured, more to himself than anyone else, his own heart echoing with the truth of it. As if sensing the blend of emotion and spiritual insight in the air, Sarah closed her eyes, allowing her own spirit to dive deeper. "Holy Spirit, guide us," she whispered fervently, letting the words spill from her heart. In that sacred stillness, she felt a tingling surge racing through her body. It was as if her every prayer had been lifted, twirling upward like spiraling smoke. Tears streamed down her face as joy intermingled with praise. "Thank you, Lord," she gasped, the weight of her worries dissolving like dew in the morning sun. "Mom, I see colors. They're bright and alive. They vibrate with love. Jacob exclaimed, his hands moving animatedly, trying to catch the lights dancing just beyond his reach. Can you see them? Sarah opened her eyes to look at him, stunned. She couldn't see those colors, but she felt their pulse in the room. A warmth filled her soul, pushing away the shadows of doubt. At this moment, it did not matter whether she could see or not, Jacob sensed what was real. They were in the presence of divine wonder, united by a force beyond comprehension. We must keep it going, the pastor beseeched the others in the room. Pray, let your faith rise. The seriousness of his words carried a fervor, igniting the spark that had taken residence in the room, hands clasped tighter as each heart united in prayer. Souls melded together, their unity forming an unbreakable chain reaching toward heaven. Life surged in the air, each breath a hymn of devotion. Sarah's voice joined in, lifted by the encouragement of the moment. It flowed freely, echoing the cries of her heart to the walls that held them so tightly confined. Release, Lord. Release your healing light over Jacob. Restore him to us, for your glory. It was a passionate plea issued from every corner of her being, fortified by love and faith. Suddenly, Jacob gasped, his body lurching as if a current shot through him. Mom, something is happening, he shouted, his eyes rolling back for an instant as if he were being inhabited by a greater force. Sarah's heart plunged at the sight. She gripped his hand tighter, unwilling to let anything sever the bond they shared. I'm right here, Jacob. You are not alone. She cried, grounding them in connection amidst the rising tide of divine energy. And then there was silence. A hush that stirred in the depths of their hearts. What would emerge from this beyond human experience? Would they uncover their purpose in the midst of divine interaction? In this moment, both terrifying yet thrilling, they awaited the revelation as the air shimmered with something colossal about to unfold, something that could change everything. Could they truly be conduits of God's miraculous healing? What was waiting at the edge of their newfound faith? In the stillness, as the echoes of prayer lingered, a soft light began to emanate from Jacob. A warm glow wrapped around him, painting the walls of the hospital room in hues of gold and soft white. Sarah's breath caught in her throat, she felt the room thrum with sacred energy, much like the pulsing heart of creation itself. Mom, it's like I can feel the love flowing through me, Jacob murmured, his voice trembling with pure joy. It's everywhere, it's in every fiber of my being. His eyes sparkled, filled with an intensity that made Sarah's heart swell with hope. Keep speaking it, Jacob. Welcome it in. She encouraged, an unexpected strength coursing through her. Around them, the pastor straightened, captivated by the phenomenon unfolding. The other family members in the room exchanged glances, eyes wide with a mix of astonishment and reverence. They could sense the deep pulse of divinity dancing in the air, intertwining their spirits into one profound prayer. Let us sing. Someone suggested, breaking the thick tension. The pastor nodded, a gentle smile breaking across his face. Together, their voices soared, a harmonious chorus filling the room. Each note felt like a beacon, calling forth healing power from above. As they sang, the colors Jacob had spoken of began to manifest. They shimmered and flowed around them, illuminating the space as if heaven itself had opened up. Wisps of color swirled like a divine tapestry, embracing each heart. Mom! Do you feel that? Jacob gasped, taking a deep breath as if he were claiming the essence of life itself. It's like all our prayers are becoming one. We are a part of something bigger. Sarah, overwhelmed, nodded. The echoes of their combined faith twined together, creating a beautiful melody of hope and unity. Suddenly, Jacob's expression shifted. His brow furrowed, and he looked up, seemingly beyond the confines of the room. Mom, I see them. The angels. They're here. His voice trembled with both awe and fear. Angels? Sarah whispered, gripping his hand with urgency, heart racing. What was unfolding before them? Yes. They're bright and full of light, he gasped, his face glowing with wonder. They're saying it's not just me. It's all of us. We have a purpose. At those words, a wave of emotion washed over Sarah. What did this mean for them? Could it be that they had been chosen for something miraculous? The pastor, sensing the shift, stepped closer, his heart filled with both caution and anticipation. Jacob, focus on them. What are they telling you? His voice was gentle, almost reverent, as he sought to understand the divine message painting itself vividly before them. As energies continued to swell, tangible in their sanctuary of faith, Jacob closed his eyes tight, concentrating his words from a place beyond rushed to his lips. They say that we all have the power to heal, to uplift, to carry light into dark places. Gasps echoed, a collective intake of breath as every soul in the room felt the weight of those words. Through prayer, through kindness, through love. Jacob's voice trailed off, mingling with the power that surged around them. Tears streamed down Sarah's face, the reality of their moment settling deep into her spirit. She understood now this wasn't just about Jacob, they were all part of a larger mission, woven into God's tapestry of healing. In that space filled with light and divine promise, they awaited more. What were these gifts meant to accomplish? Were they truly being called to shed a light upon the world? As they pondered this, a strange stillness enveloped them once more. The air thickened with expectancy. Sarah's heart drummed in her chest, anticipation spiraling around them like the breath of angels. But the true miracle was yet to unfold. What sacred truths awaited on the horizon of their faith? As they lingered in the divine atmosphere, time felt suspended. The warm glow surrounding Jacob seemed to deepen, shifting almost to a radiant pulse, echoing the heartbeat of hope coursing through each person present. Sarah found herself sipping deeply from the cup of faith, her spirit aflame with passion for whatever wonders still lay ahead. Jacob, she whispered, what else are they saying? His eyes were still closed, the brightness pouring from him almost blinding in its warmth. They're saying we need to open our hearts wide. Love unconditionally. It's the only way. His voice was steady now, ringing with authority. Each word was infused with light, revealing the fragile beauty of their shared path. Around them, shadows of doubt dissipated like mist before the sun. The pastor felt the weight of Jacob's words settle deeply, resonating with the silent prayers he had carried in his heart. Love is the purest form of healing, isn't it? He reminded them all, casting his eyes over each family member. That's where our strength lies. Yes. Jacob exclaimed, drawing energy from the collective spirit. It's about our connection. We are the branches, and he is the vine. Together, we can flourish. A ripple of agreement flowed through the room, fortified by faith. Those gathered felt it, an undercurrent of divine unity. Past grievances began to fall away, replaced with a sense of renewed purpose. Everyone here was part of this moment. Their hearts beat as one, each pulse echoing with a promise stitched into the fabric of their lives. Sarah wiped her eyes, looking at the shimmering colors around them. We can help one another. It's what we were meant to do. Yes. Jacob replied, his voice bursting forth with an infusion of life. We are healers, every one of us. With every prayer we share, every act of kindness, we reflect his light. Around them, faces glowed with recognition, a shift building. They were more than Joseph's family, bound by flesh and blood, they were a community of souls, entwined through the spirit of cherished love. That realization infused them with courage, igniting a fire within. And just as certainty settled, the air shifted once again. A cold shiver danced through the room, an unexpected disturbance threatening to sever their emerging unity. Jacob's brow furrowed as he sensed the change. Something isn't right. The light flickered, casting shadows that crept into the corners of the room, as an uninvited tension filled the atmosphere. What do you see, Jacob? Sarah pressed, gripping his hand tighter, instinctively seeking comfort in his glow. It's heavy. Dark, he stammered, voice faltering against the surge of uncertainty, but there is still light. It's just hidden deep underneath. Then we must dig deeper. The pastor declared. If darkness is here, it means something sacred is being challenged. Our love can overcome it. Yes. Our love transcends any shadow, shouted Sarah, as the truth took root in her heart. The moment was stirring a fight within her, a fierce determination to stand firm in the face of negativity. Remember, we have the power to heal. Jacob urged, a beacon of faith standing strong amid the chill. Let us call on his name. With renewed fervor, they united in a powerful prayer, voices ringing out like a declaration against the darkness that loomed. Each word rose like incense, climbing higher and encompassing them, forcing away shadows that dared to encroach upon their sacred gathering. As their voices soared, an eruption of vibrancy enveloped Jacob once more. He became a focal point of energy, channeling the love radiating from the congregation around him. But there, amidst the rising tide of faith, a whisper hung in the air. A knowing that something monumental was on the verge of happening, testing their resolve, demanding their courage. What would this battle of light and dark reveal? Was their faith fortified enough to face the challenge ahead? The air crackled with anticipation, and the glow grew brighter, heralding the beginning of something wondrous. They took a collective breath, knowing that the true test was yet to come. The room vibrated with intensity, the echoes of their prayers spiraling into the depths of heaven. As the last word faded into silence, a stillness swept over them. In that moment, the flickering light steadied, illuminating the faces around Jacob, a tapestry of hope, fear, and unyielding faith woven tightly together. Did you see that? Sarah murmured, her heart racing. For a second, everything felt clear. Like the veil was lifted. She searched the room, grasping the hands of those near her, feeling their warmth, their shared resolve. I felt it too, Jacob responded, his voice a reverberation of mixed emotions. But it's not just clarity, it's a challenge. Something waiting in the wings. His words hung heavy in the air, a somber reminder that darkness was not yet quelled. Suddenly, the temperature dipped again, chill seeping in as if a door to another realm had cracked wide. An unsettling presence lingered around them. The calm was deceptive, like a lull before a storm. Jacob's brow furrowed deeper, and he exhaled slowly, trying to anchor himself. Trust, he insisted, locking eyes with Sarah. Trust that we've got the power to face whatever it is. A shiver passed through the group, but Sarah, feeling emboldened, lifted her chin. We've stood on the edge of despair before, and each time, we've found our way back through love. We won't be broken. We are the light. Let us move forward with faith, the pastor affirmed, his voice unwavering, rising to match the tension crackling about them. We are his children, equipped for this purpose. As they chanted affirmations and praises, Jacob closed his eyes again, attuning to the still, shining whispers coming from above, tapping into the divine frequency lingering just out of reach. The air shifted, a presence began to form around him, swirling like shimmering threads of gold spun together in a majestic dance. It's here, I can feel it, he exclaimed, reveling in the assurance that surged through his spirit. The glow intensified, enkindling their spirits as if igniting a flame within. Sarah gasped as the light wove through them, illuminating their thoughts and mending the hidden fractures of doubt. They were no longer alone, an invisible force united them, each one a vital part of the greater whole. Then, as quickly as the illumination appeared, it dimmed, pulling back to unveil a wave of darkness that approached slowly, creeping in from the corners. A palpable tension gripped their hearts, uncertainty flooding in, but Jacob raised his voice, fierce and unwavering. Do not lose faith. Remember, light can never be extinguished by darkness. A murmur of agreement surged through the congregation, igniting their resolve anew. They gathered, linking arms, reaffirming their bond, their interconnectedness through the Spirit. Love poured out like a healing balm, mending what had been frayed. With renewed fervor, they sang with open hearts, blending words and melodies into a tapestry of worship. The sound filled the air, a heavenly chorus that resonated with power. Light cascaded from them, pushing against the darkness, and as the shadows pressed forward, it began to draw back, retreating from the onslaught of faith surrounding them, yet, deep within, Sarah sensed a shift. What if this darkness is not just a threat? What if it's an invitation? She pondered aloud, her heart racing with the weight of revelation. What do you mean? Jacob turned to her, curiosity flickering amidst the fear. An invitation to confront our deepest fears, our hidden pains. An opportunity to emerge stronger. She replied, her voice steady now, the embers of inspiration igniting a newfound courage. A heartbeat resonated within them, an undeniable call to brave the unknown, to discover what lay on the other side of their fear. Would they heed the invitation? Would this confrontation usher them into a deeper understanding of their own healing power? The air pulsed with anticipation, and they could only wonder what the next moment would reveal. The air grew still, thick with expectancy. They stood together, hearts racing as they absorbed the weight of Sarah's words. Each face reflected an inner struggle, a dance between the comfort of the familiar and the beckoning of the unknown. Jacob's mind raced with the implications. What did it mean to confront their fears? I believe there's more to reveal, he whispered, scarcely believing his own words. In that moment, Sarah stepped forward, unwavering. Let us take a step into the unknown. We've only seen a glimmer of what lies before us. She looked deep into Jacob's eyes, searching for solidarity. Together, we can face whatever darkness approaches. We won't let it define us. Encouraged by her bravery, the others nodded in agreement. They gathered their strength, their voices rising in a solemn chant. We are not afraid. We will forge ahead. Their voices wove like a strong thread, binding them as one, a tapestry of faith and love. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed through the room, causing them all to jump. The light flickered once more. As if in response, the shadows deepened, curling around them like a heavy fog. But this time, they didn't retreat. Instead, with determination, they pressed forward. What is this darkness? One of the elder members asked, uncertainty lacing their words. What are we to do with it? Jacob felt the moment hang in the air. His heart thundered, and he knew he had to answer not just for them, but for himself. The darkness is not simply a foe. He proclaimed, his voice resounding with newfound clarity. It might be the very catalyst for our transformation. A wave of awe surged through the group. Think about it, Jacob continued, his voice steady as the words flowed from his heart. Every time we've faced darkness, we've discovered a part of ourselves we didn't know existed, a strength, a gift, a purpose. Maybe this darkness is urging us to tap into our inner healing, revealing the divine healer in each of us. Tears glimmered in Sarah's eyes, reflecting the flickering light that danced around them. Yes, yes. We can turn our fear into fuel. Our wounds into wisdom. Her voice grew strong, sparking a fire among the others. As they embraced this revelation, something remarkable began to happen. The shadows twisted, morphing into shapes that danced against the walls, each figure a representation of their collective fears. Face it. Sarah urged, love radiating from her. What is it that you fear most? The room erupted in whispers of truth. Some spoke of loss, others of failure, and a few of loneliness. Each revelation transformed into light, cracking the darkness around them. One by one, they confronted their fears, joining their voices in an anthem of faith and healing. I release the fear of loneliness. Jacob shouted, sending waves of energy echoing throughout the room, illuminating the dark corners where shadows clung. I surrender my pain of failure. Another cried out, shaking with the release. With every proclamation, the light grew stronger, dancing joyously like a flame fed by air. Sarah looked around her, her heart swelling with hope. Together, they were breaking free from chains that had held them captive for too long. As the shadows began to shrink, tension transformed into joy, their fear morphing into palpable energy. It was as if each sacrifice illuminated a path woven in light, but in the midst of this sacred breakthrough, a voice whispered in the back of Sarah's mind a question unanswered. What more is waiting to be revealed? What lies beyond this light? The anticipation hung in the air like a thick mist, the divine presence heavy with mystery. They had taken this giant leap together, but now, a new wonder emerged, and they sensed another calling waiting for them just beyond the glow. Would they follow that call? Would the darkness reveal its final, hidden truths? They stood on the precipice of something profound, hearts intertwined and faith buoyed, ready to discover what lay ahead. The flickering light around them began to pulse, each beat syncing with the rhythms of their racing hearts. The atmosphere shimmered with anticipation and a divine aura, casting reflections off the walls that felt almost alive. Sarah could feel a charge in the air, an energy that summoned them forward, urging them to breach the threshold of their understanding. What if it's not just our fears we confront but also the dormant gifts within us? Jacob ventured, his voice a tapestry woven with hope and curiosity. What if this is a moment of awakening? The others turned to him, their eyes wide with silence, drinking in the weight of his words. Could it be true? They felt the presence of the Holy Spirit wrapping around them, igniting their spirits like dry kindling set ablaze. I sense the call, Sarah murmured, her voice steady, though her heart thundered with the sweet recognition of divine purpose. What if this light reveals not only our darkness but also the power buried deep inside us? As if responding to her question, the shadows swirled excitedly, yearning to be acknowledged. They danced and twirled, inviting each one to reconsider their deepest truths. Sensing this collective stirring, Jacob stepped forward, arms wide open, and proclaimed with conviction, "We must embrace it all. The fears, the shadows, and the latent gifts waiting to be birthed." With this declaration, a profound understanding washed over them. Each of them brought something unique to the table, each wound harbored a healing truth. Sarah remembered stories from her childhood, tales of ordinary people who had done extraordinary things with a spark of faith. We've all seen our share of miracles. What if we were meant to be vessels of those same miracles? As they contemplated her thought, the light surrounding them brightened further, illuminating every corner of the room. Like petals unfurling at dawn, their hearts awakened to the possibility of their divinely implanted purposes. One by one, they began to share the gifts they felt stirring within, the wonders they had seen, and the healings they had experienced. "I've always felt a comfort in prayer," whispered one elder, his voice trembling. "I think I've been called to intercede for others," and I chimed in another, "I often dream things before they happen. Perhaps I have a prophetic gift, a way of understanding the unseen." With each confession, the flames of belief grew higher, consuming doubt and fear. Sarah closed her eyes, and in that moment, she envisioned chains breaking, darkness lifting, and light pouring forth. This was not just their personal journey anymore, it was a community awakening. Then, as if answering their burgeoning convictions, a luminous figure emerged from the shadows. The air shimmered as the figure shaped by light began to glow brighter, revealing a face they didn't know but felt familiar. An unearthly warmth radiated from it, wrapping around them like a blanket of love. "Fear not," the figure spoke, its voice like a gentle breeze. "For you have awakened the healer within. The gifts you speak of are already planted within your souls. They just need your faith to bloom." Gasps of awe filled the room. The collective realization birthed an overwhelming sense of joy. They were called, not just to face darkness but to shine as beacons of hope through love and healing. Each declaration strengthened them, each shared gift illuminated the purpose swirling in the air around them, but just as despair faded and hope took root, a pulse of energy shifted once more. The air thickened, and with it came a new wave of understanding. "But what does this truly mean for us?" came a voice from the back, laced with both excitement and caution. "How do we unleash these gifts? What is our next step?" They turned to one another, realizing that the journey was just beginning. Beyond the light of promise lay the depths of the unknown, a calling greater than they had ever imagined. With hearts racing, they stood ready, poised to dive deeper into what the universe had in store. What awaited them could be soaring triumph, or perhaps new trials. Yet in the face of uncertainty, their resolve gathered like a fierce storm. What would their next steps be? Would they find the courage to unleash those gifts into the world? Each of them felt the weight of divine expectation taking root, and as they looked towards the horizon, the whisper of destiny called anew. In the sacred hush of the hospital room, a palpable tension hung heavily in the air. Faces were illuminated by the glow of love and faith, each heart resonating with purpose. As Jacob shared the beauty of the angels and their message, Sarah's spirit soared. She realized they had crossed a threshold, a divine invitation to embrace the essence of true healing, the connection woven through love. Tears glistened on her cheeks, a tribute to the grace enveloping them. We won't just fight darkness, we will illuminate it with every ounce of love within us. She exclaimed, her voice rising above the noise of apprehension. The congregation responded, a swell of agreement echoing through the room, hearts beating as one. Yes. They shouted, the fervor igniting. Together, we are healers. As they stood united, challenges began to clear, shadows retreating under the weight of their collective resolve. The air shimmered with energy, a sacred dance of light swirling around Jacob, the center of their prayers. It was in that moment that Sarah understood deeply the power of their faith could transcend illness, lift spirits, and reach the very gates of heaven. Suddenly, the door creaked open, and in walked the doctor, his face marked by exhaustion yet shifting as he felt the transformative energy enveloping them. "What's happening here?" he asked, eyes wide, sensing the holy presence around Jacob. "Miracles, doctor," Jacob replied, a smile breaking over his face. "Love and faith." As he spoke those words, the doctor's heart stirred, eyes glistening with wonder. "I have never seen anything like this. Your son, he is defying all odds." The words hung between them like a promise, and Sarah's heart soared. She could feel the tides of change rushing through Jacob. "We can't contain this miracle," she declared, her voice breaking through the clamor of fear, inviting hope back into their lives. "Let us testify of this light, share it with the world outside these walls." And so, they lifted their voices in a spontaneous chorus, a song of grace spun from souls that had tasted despair and found hope. Each note echoed across the hospital corridors, penetrating the spaces where doubt lingered. It was a song not just for Jacob but for every weary heart searching for healing. "Sing! Sing with all your might!" shouted Sarah, invigorated by the energy flowing through them. "Let the heavens know our faith, let it resonate in the hearts of the broken." As they sang, light flooded the room, bursting forth as vibrant hues cascaded from Jacob, wrapping around each person present. The air crackled with electric anticipation, the essence of healing swirled through the space, a testament to the miraculous. Suddenly, Jacob's eyes flickered, clarity shining through. "I can feel it, Mom. I'm being filled. It's as if a wave of energy is healing every part of me." A warmth radiated from within him, illuminating the corners of the room. Tears of joy streamed down Sarah's cheeks as she watched her son transform before her. She knelt beside him, cradling his hand tightly. The surrounding community felt it too, a testimony mingling with the atmosphere, threading hope into every soul gathered. "We are lifted. Together, we stand as healers," she proclaimed. The rush of energy swelled, until suddenly, Jacob sat up, eyes wide and bright. "I am well, Mom. I can feel the power flowing through me." His voice rose, firm and filled with wonder. The doctor stepped back, eyes filled with awe and disbelief. "Incredible, this is beyond explanation. I need to share this." With that, Sarah felt the urgency to spread their message even further. "Yes, we must share this love, this healing. Each of us has a part to play." Bursting with joy, they began to organize, weaving their stories into one grand narrative of healing, courage, and divine connection. In the days that followed, news of Jacob's incredible transformation and the congregation's collective prayer spread through the community like wildfire. Each heart touched by their story fanned the flames of faith, igniting hope in those who had known only despair. The hospital became a sanctuary, a testament to the divine work of healing God had placed within Sarah and Jacob. Joined by their supportive community. As they embraced this new chapter of their lives, they formed the healing ministry, a movement born from the depths of struggle and steeped in love. Sarah stood as a mentor, guiding others to discover their gifts, embracing the miraculous signs they were given. Together, they became bearers of light, declaring boldly, "We are vessels of healing. Through faith, we transcend the shadows." And so, the story continued, a symphony of faith, healing, and love that wrapped around Jacob and Sarah, the community they inspired, and all who would hear their story. To all who are reading and want to carry this light forward, you need to subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread these powerful testimonies. Comment below your thoughts and experiences about today's miraculous ending. And share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this divine manifestation. We are all part of a divine calling. Let us lift each other and illuminate the world together.